Very emotional week for so many folks. The Diocese of Green Bay is stepping up to help those families hit by the tornado. Following Bishop David Rickens' call to support those most impacted, Catholic Charities staff working out of their Menasha office connecting survivors with short-term housing and emergency financial aid. With support from a national disaster grant and a partnership with the Airbnb Foundation, they can offer eligible households direct financial assistance and housing vouchers good for up to 10 days, giving those displaced residents a safe place to stay while they start this process to rebuild. Anyone in need of immediate shelter or financial help can stop by the Menasha office or call Catholic Charities for more information.